We are the cloud. I am JP Suno. Joined with me,
of course, as always, is Michaela Booth, Don Dino, and Jason Eccles, Steve Dez, and right now, introducing to the Cinema Club right now is Raymond Arturo Perez and John. My dad. I try to stick the landing, tried so hard, but you know, I could have done a Sully in the Hudson, but I didn't. Instead, it was just a rollover in the dunes. So my apologies for that. And this week's movie is Boy and the World, the animated feature from Brazil. And give a quick synopsis. In short, the film is a 1 hour and 20-minute adventure of this young boy trying to find his father, and in the process, pretty much discovering the world around him. And before we dwell into the film itself, we're going to go into initial thoughts. I'm going to give mine real quick. This film has been kind of in my radar for the past year and a half. A lot of, like, in my spare time, I like to watch a lot of animated film reviewers. And this happens to be one of those films that, like, it's not in the radar, but it comes up in the blip a few times. So I was really curious, like, why hasn't this film gotten as much attention as one would assume it would? Because this was nominated for Best Animated Picture, I believe, back in 2013 during the Oscars. And my initial thoughts, I think it did deserve the nomination. There's a few moments in the film that kind of gets you out of it. We're going to probably talk about that a little bit later on. But the artistic style and just the drive of the film, it's so beautiful. It's memorizing. At times, I wish that they did more with the artistic style of it, because it is supposed to look like almost like a drawing from a children's, just a doodle board or like notebook. It's very colorful, kind of like a Crayon pastel type of styling. And then it gets into very collage, realistic type of stuff later on in the movie. It's just overall, visually, it's beautiful. There's almost no dialogue whatsoever. The dialogue that we do hear is in Portuguese, but in reversed, so it comes off as gibberish. And it's very little. It's very little. This is basically a silent movie. Well, yes and no, because music is very important in this film. I guess we're going to talk about that later. But like, it just hits all the notes of like almost like an old school cartoon. It's visually, it's beautiful. It's just so colorful. The music is great. And overall, I was surprised by this movie. I do have a few notes, a few nitpicks, but we're going to get into that later. So what about you guys? What was your initial thoughts of Boy and the World?
I actually thought it was almost overwhelming at times, just because like there's just so much that they pack into the screen, and I feel like if I like watch, I'd have to watch it like at least 5 times to get every single layer that they're like trying to put into this film. Like, you could really tell that the studio really wanted to say something and say everything it possibly could, you know? Like with the artwork and with like it's so, there's just like so much layers upon layers upon layers in like the storytelling and the way that they portray stuff. But it is a gorgeous watch. Like, I almost like I thought it was a short film, you know, like it felt like the pacing, like it did not feel like it was an hour at all. Like, I felt like it was like 20 minutes. So like you get in, like you do get caught up in the world, or at least I did.
I'll go ahead and jump in. I personally, wait, I'm kind of hearing myself. Okay.
Yeah, you're super echoey.
Am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So initially, I was like, man, if there was ever a movie that I should do like shrooms or acid to, should be this one.
Oh my God.
And I missed the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, it's so colorful and everything. But I got to rewatch it because, like Michaela said, like, it's a very fast-paced film. So I definitely have to rewatch it because there's certain layers of the film that I guess I just glanced over. Because I was just at first, like, so focused on the whole dilemma of, like, him trying to find his dad type of thing and I thought that was like the direction the whole movie was gonna be about. But then it throws you on a spin of like, oh, it's about this, and so yeah, so definitely I want to peel those layers with y'all. But like initially, it's a good movie. It's a good watch. You can watch it in the afternoon. You can watch it at night. You can watch it in the morning. It's a great piece of film, and it would definitely never, ever, ever cross my radar. Even though that I'm actually trying to learn Portuguese right now, but it was still wouldn't have crossed my radar because when I was looking for Brazilian movies, like all of them are about like guns and crime and like really bad stuff, and I'm like, where's like the joy or like the good stuff? And if anything, this is, I mean, it's not necessarily like a super positive film 100% because that's not the message of the movie, but it is the most positive Brazilian film that I found so far. Well, I didn't find and initially, yeah, I like it, and I like the pacing of it, and it wasn't, I didn't have to clear my schedule to watch it. So
Very cool.
All right.
Anyone want-
I'll go. I struggled watching it. I think I took a long walk before, and I got home and I put it on, and it's during siesta time, and I was struggling because there's no dialogue, right? There's no nothing. So, and it is very mesmerizing and beautiful colors, but I had to make sure I stayed awake. I will say that I got reminded by the Caterpillar book, for like the kids book. Remember, like every page, and like he would eat up chunks and then turns into a butterfly. So the colors and drawings kind of reminded me of that. A little bit also of whoever that kid with the purple crayon.
Harold. I think the boy's name Harold.
Yeah, Harold and the purple crayon. And so it reminded me of that kind of art. And I really enjoyed it. I actually put my headphones in, which I think made it way more trippy. I was also thinking that, like, man, this would be a really good watch if you were on drugs, if that's, what you do. But even without it, it felt very trippy. I had to stop and look because I'm like, oh, Portuguese, like I can, yo comprendo. And I was like, that's not Portuguese. Did I get the wrong audio format? I was like, what audio is this? And
let me jump in on that one. I felt the same way because I was like, legit, I'm like learning a little bit, and I'm like, is this like Portuguese from Portugal? Or like
So yeah,
is it weird that the Portuguese in reverse almost at times sounded like German?
Yeah, it did. And for me, it was like the last girl I dated. She's Brazilian, and I could understand her. And so once I found that out, I was picking out certain Portuguese words backwards, like menino, menino, which is boy and all that, and backwards, and it's like onemi or some. So I kind of had fun with that. And I this could have been a short. And it would have been just as powerful, I think. But it was very visually pleasing, and also the music.
And I didn't see it. I missed this week. So everyone's going to talk about it. It sounds lovely, though.
I mean, it's not what you told me. You told me you just don't like Brazilians.
Well, the thing is that a Brazilian guy stole my wallet once. It took me months to fix everything that he broke in my life.
That's a good justification.
It also sounds like a good indie film.
Oh my god.
What about you, Raymond?
I think it's hilarious that this is somehow not as depressing or negative of a film as the other options for Brazilian cinema, because it was still very like somber and heavy, even though it's colorful and wasn't expecting any of that. So I was like, oh damn, like this is gonna get dark. Like it's about this kid and he's like, you know, trying to compensate for his dad leaving, and on this quest. What I did like as a general note is at the very beginning, as we see him kind of going through his neighborhood and the nature around him, everything's really, really colorful. And then there's like the smoke from the train station, which is black, and just how they like kind of use this dichotomy of color versus like black capitalism or industrialism or the government or the police. Like, it's just a nice juxtaposition that keeps it like growing as the movie goes, which I thought was very subtle and pretty dope.
That's awesome. Anyone else, Des or Joelis?
La voy a decir en español. Steven, ¿me ayudas a traducir?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Porque así me siento como que más libre en expresarme. No sé si también con eso.
Chévere, chica,
Sí, perfecto. Lo voy a traducir.
Vamos allá. Pues ¿cómo fue que no te escuché?
Tu internet está cortando un poco.
¿Está mal?
Sí,
ok,
está...
dame un segundo.
Está...
Y eso que está el wifi prendido, déjame apagarlo. ¿Me veo mejor?
The provider.
¿Ahora sí?
Sí, habla.
¿O no? ¿Sí? Ok. Pues inicialmente, honestamente yo pensé que de lo que venía después de la película, que no iba a ser completamente animada. Que era solamente una introducción, como que... Porque no leí nada antes de verla, fue como que la vi sin saber de qué se trataba ni nada. Entonces, cuando veo que sigue animada y que no hablan, fue como... Oh, ok, es silenciosa. Leo el título y veo que es en portugués y yo esperando, ok, ¿cuándo van a hablar? Pero no hablaban. Pero... Y era como que, ok, quiero, tú sabes, emocionarme porque yo estudié portugués, tú sabes. Y no hablaban. Pero me pareció súper bello, colorido, súper interesante en cómo la música hablaba. O sea, no necesitaba ni diálogo, porque la misma música hablaba y los colores hablaban por todo. Y para mí me pareció súper bella, los detalles, las transiciones, la creación. 20 de 10.
Okie dokie. I think Michaela got the translation and Jason got the translation. And
yeah,
for
so I guess we should see who got it better. Like Michaela can say what she got from it, and then Jason.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go.
Well, you're gonna win for sure.
Let's start with Michaela. Michaela, what did JP tell you?
JP said that she was talking a lot about how like she also was thrown by the backwards Portuguese and how that was kind of very confusing for her. I caught her saying something about the animals, especially like the dog, and like she's also talking about how she really liked how you could see the music, which we'll get into that a little bit more. Yeah, that, or at least that's kind of like the general, very broad strokes that JP helped me with.
And trust me, they were pretty broad.
All right, Jason.
I don't even remember anymore.
I told him that she was saying how bad the movie was.
No, he said that she studied Portuguese and she still had a hard time understanding this film. And the sounds of the film were like the music of the film was speaking.
Yeah.
So I got it.
Now, Joelis, was any of that accurate or did they make stuff up?
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
¿Eso fue correcto lo que ellos dijeron o se pusieron mentiras ahí?
Well, kind of.
So kind of real, kind of fake, huh?
We got Spanish listeners, Des. As long as they get it, we're cool.
Yeah. See, this is why translating jobs are the easiest ones to get, one of the highest paying ones, and the ones you can just fucking bullshit your way through it. Because look at that. Look at Dino and look at JP.
¿Cómo se dice? Yo no hablo español.
Raymond and I got it. That's the important part. And the people that speak the language or can hear it, they know what the fuck is up. Anywho, JP, you got the baton.
Got you. Okay, so now that we gave our initial thoughts, I would like to go first into we don't get to watch that many animated films in this group, and it is actually, I feel like, other than Jason and Naomi, I've picked so far like the most animated features so far, because that's just my favorite medium. So I want to talk about the medium, the animation. Like, what did you guys feel about the animation and the visuals of the film, especially since that's kind of what the thing that's kind of driving this movie altogether? I'll give my kind of thoughts first on like what was a standout animation style that I noticed. I noticed pretty into the second act of the movie that whatever was not natural or was given in nature was technically not drawn. We saw everything drawn in like a crayon or a pastel style, but then we saw everything that was man-made pretty much in collage. Like you saw it cut out from real life pictures and just like hastily put together as if to kind of show like this is not natural. Like it's obviously man-made. And I feel like that was one of the more standout moments when it comes to the medium itself. I kind of wish that there was more that they took advantage of in the drawn style, like because it's beautiful. And even Raymond pointed out in the intro, the further in that the boy got into his world in the beginning, the more detail we saw in this world. But it did not compromise its style. You could tell that it still looked like it was pastels, crayons, and whatnot. And then the more industrial stuff that we saw later on, the more real it got. And it even cut to actual footage of real stuff at one point in the film. But I want to know, like, what did you guys catch or saw with the visuals of the film?
Real quick, I'm gonna jump in because I feel like other people are gonna say more.
Echo.
I'm echoing. Who is it? There's somebody here. Somebody. Hello. There we go. So it's you, Raymond. I got my eye on you. Next time I'll mute you. So basically, what I really enjoyed about the animation was, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little underestimating it at first because it started with the whole white thing, like just white around. So I was like, man, they don't got like good animators in Brazil. Like, what the fuck? But, not gonna lie, but the thing that I enjoyed the most was the actual like crescendo that they did, because they weren't giving you everything in the beginning. It was like they were just throwing like sprinkles, and then slowly but surely they were just immersing you into this world, and that I really appreciate. Because it's like, it's like seeing a monster movie. You don't want to see the monster in the first scene. You kind of want to like build that up. So same with like this type of world that's sort of, I mean, it's a dystopian version or hyper version of the world that we live in today. But it was like, at first I was like, is this here or is this somewhere else? Because I saw two moons and I was like, I was trying to place myself. Okay, is this on Earth or is this like some other dimension? But I did enjoy that crescendo. That was my favorite thing. So that was all I wanted to say about the animation.
For sure. Anyone else? What about you, Dino?
Animation wise, yeah, kind of. I touched on it a little bit of the kids' books that it made me think of, and yeah, I also did enjoy that it would also do a palate cleansing at times. kind of like reset to just the white canvas, and then sprinkle color at a little bit at a time, and then it would go into like just full on colors. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that, and knew how to work your eyes in the sense like overstimulation, and then back to the void, and then little by little. So definitely haven't really seen another animated movie that has used the animation in this style. The closest thing is that French cartoon that we watched about the Mars thing, where they did a good job of weaving, transitions and colors and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if we might be getting into the qualms, but I was disappointed when they put the actual footage, the live footage of things. I was like, you don't need that. It was so beautiful. Just the drawing, you didn't need to go there. I think we all understood it. So that's it.
For sure. Raymond or Joelis, what would you guys thought about the visuals?
Bueno, en cuestión de los colores, me gustó como lo radical de lo bien colorido a de momento radical a algo bien marrón, oscuro, y tú podías como que sentir el cambio en los colores nada más. O sea, además de las transiciones, en los colores tan radicales que no todo era color de rosa. También, déjame ver qué más. Pienso que eso fue lo más que me impactó en cuestión. ¿Perdón?
No, basically, just to translate, basically what she said, that she loved the radical colors, all the transitions, that it wasn't just focused on like the pink world or just the dark. It was just a mixture of it all. And that's the thing that really caught her attention.
¿Eso nomás?
Exacto.
Sí, exactly.
Es que estaba como que pensando. También, déjame ver otra cosa, porque fue como mucho. Déjame ver. Sí, básicamente eso fue lo más que me impactó. Basically that. I was thinking that.
Raymond.
Yeah, I think the use of color was also really exciting, and there's definitely like color versus black that I think they use really, really well. In regards to the real footage, I'm on the opposite side of the thing, in that like I think you're right in saying it's kind of obvious what they're talking about. You don't really need it, but what I liked about them using it was like at that point in the film, you're kind of already on this train of understanding what they're talking about. You're very familiar with the style that they're using and how they're using it. And so when they started to use like live action footage or real footage of Earth, it was like this way of saying like almost in your face, like F you, like this isn't just like, don't get lost in the animation and in the prettiness. Like this is a mirror of your world, and this is what that looks like. And so I understand where you're coming from, but that's kind of how I responded and reacted in that moment.
Yeah, no, I never even thought of it like that. That's actually a really cool perspective. Thank you, Raymond. Yeah.
And would you?
I mean, I was really impressed how well they managed to blend the different types of animation that they had going on. Because like they obviously used more than just one medium. Like they had the collage, and then they had like the hand-drawn boy, and they used watercolors, and like they had so many different like mediums that they were animating at the same time. And the way that they managed to make it so cohesive just really makes you dive into the world even deeper, because like that could have been so jarring, I feel,
Yeah.
Especially like with the collage movements, as smooth as they managed to get that, but still making it look choppy. but yeah, it still made sense with like the way the boy moved. So like it was all still part of the same universe, and I feel like that could have easily got like fallen apart.
Gotcha. Okay, so the next part I want to talk about before we get into more spoilery type territories, especially the ending. I think the one biggest note that I got of film, as like a critique or a nitpick at least, is the narrative of the movie. I felt that there was a few moments where I wasn't sure where the movie was going, and it definitely does not help that there was no dialogue whatsoever. So you literally had to like just based on in the moment where the film is going and where you think it will lead to. And yeah, there was a few moments where I feel that you could take chunks of the movie out and you have a pretty much solid, great short film. But I do feel like the film as a whole, like those parts that are unnecessary, that in my view, not totally necessary. So like actually it became one of my favorite parts of the movie. So let's talk about the like the narrative and what was your favorite part in general in the film. For me, my favorite part, like I know the film is kind of divided into threes because you see the boy like on his own and then meeting the young worker, well meeting the old worker and then the young worker at the fabric shop, the old man picking up the materials to make the fabric, and then the young man actually making stuff to make the fabric. For me, one of the standout moments in the film was actually a sequence I think could have worked without it, and it's literally when the boy he finds himself on a cargo ship, and he finds where the fabric goes to. The fabric goes to basically this floating island in the sky, and it's so obvious, like, oh, those are the Imperials right there. Like, they're the fucking high up guys with all the money. Even their world is armed with turrets, and you could tell like they're so much more advanced when it comes to like just wealth and what they have, and you could barely see what's going on, but you know exactly what it represents. And then the boy, like, in this weird moment where the film goes into pure black and the outlines are in rainbow color, what happens to the fabric? It almost comes off as for me very technical and techno, which makes sense because that's where all the technical stuff goes. Like all the man-made stuff from the beginning, we're right down. We got the fabric. Now we're gonna use the machines to make the fabric into clothing to literally sell back to the people who fucking made the fabric in the first place. But what was your guys' favorite part in the film, story-wise?
What caught me from the beginning and just like pulled from my heartstrings was when he's with the mom and they throw the bucket into the well, and it was like a mirror. So they were like with the pastels and the colors and all that, throwing the bucket, it's splashing in the water, and it's the mirror. It's just like very cool how with that kind of art they did that. And it just took me back to being a little kid. And when we would go out into the countryside, you'd go and you'd get the water from the well, and you do that. And there's something as a little kid that, you make a splash. So that got me right away. And and everything else would remind me of Paraguay, or when I would travel Brazil and stuff like that, because they did a really good job on creating the textures of Brazil or Latin American countries in general, of the architecture and the outdoors and stuff like that. So in that sense, yeah, that really I really enjoyed that part of it. And to me, it seems that it was all like the same character. The little kid is the older. It's almost like Doctor Who. They come back in different, ages, but it's all the same character. So, heard it here first.
My favorite moment, because for me it was like he's in search of his father, and you kind of know that when the moment comes and the person gets out of the train that it's not going to be his dad, but I didn't know how exactly that moment was going to hit. And so when that first person comes out and it looks like his dad, and then the second, and then the third, and then the fourth, I was just like, damn, like you had to go that hard.
Right.
With no warning. That it was just, it was really depressing. And then I think they kind of hit it again by showing him growing up and then leaving his mom and suggesting that he's going to go do the same thing. And then again, as an older man, as if we didn't already have enough sadness of reality, that like they show him as an older man and he's like putting up the photo of his mom and dad. And I was just like, all those moments were unnecessary, but they hit really hard.
I mean, I wouldn't say that like those were unnecessary, because like that's the whole point of this, is like the boy meets his world, and like we see the inner child like react to the world around that he's forced into. Like that's like the entire metaphor of this film. So like you need to see those. And like I also disagree with you. Like it's important to see what the cotton's being made for, because it shows what all of this hard work is for.
Mhm.
And it's for a fucking shirt. You know, it's not even cute.
Yeah, I didn't think the adverts for the shirt were all that cute either.
Exactly. So it's just I don't know. Like I feel like that's what life is. It's like you don't end up where you think you want to, or like it's not how you plan, and it's all about how like your inner child reacts to like everything around it. And like that's how you keep your like art and your spirit alive, you know? And like I feel like that's like the process we got to watch in different like steps. So I think that all of it's really important to the story, in my opinion.
No, definitely, I agree. And another moment that comes to mind too is because they're all moments that I anticipated. The moment where we recognize he's not going to reunite with his father was one of them, and then the other one that was coming to mind was when he gets to the city and we see kind of the military, army, police force start to come in their black attire, and then we see kind of the indigenous working population coming in the more colorful palettes, and we see them coming closer and closer together. That even though these are like animated characters, I was kind of like nervous, and like I was like, here's something else that I maybe don't need to see is like the police beating up people. And I love that they cut from that and they go to the two birds and we see the birds battling. And I just thought it was a clever way of saying, like, we already know what's happening here. Let's see it in this other way. And then we never go back to that moment. Instead, we move past that, but we all understand what's going on. So I just thought it was a very like clever way to tell story without showing us something that maybe we don't need to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, but like I think my favorite scene is when he's waking up after the storm and you meet the old man for the first time, just because like there's like so many like little hints that you can see that that's like his future self, like the tea, like him like in like it's something that he still like he liked when he was little, and it's something he still does for himself, you know. And it's just like seeing like how the old man still sees himself as a younger entity and how he tries to care for it in like these little ways, you know, despite everything that's happened to him. And I think that's one of my favorite scenes. It's just the warmthness of that. I really liked that.
Pues para mí, mi parte favorita de todas fue cuando él estaba con los trabajadores y de momento vio como un círculo anaranjado y él dijo, ¿qué será eso? Y le empezó a seguir hasta que llegó a este pequeño carnaval o sea, vi el imprint de Brasil ahí, de la música de ellos, de los carnavales de ellos, cuando él persiguió el circulito y llegó a toda esta gente tocando y bailando y cantando, caminando, fue como lo impactante que para él fue la música y ver a esa gente tocando, y fue como qué bello lo que puede significar para un niño. A lo mejor para uno la música es algo bien normal, que uno lo escucha y pues lo baila y se lo goza. Pero para un niño, cuán impresionante puede ser que la gente se esté disfrutando, ¿verdad? Lo que es la música. Y para mí esa fue mi parte favorita de toda la película. Steven, ayúdame.
So basically, since Dino doesn't want to translate to Jason,
okay, I'll translate, bro. Her favorite scene was when the little kid is following that tiny little kind of red dot, and as he follows the red dot, it goes into the scene of basically the carnaval, and this really shows, you know, the culture in Brazil and the music and how that is so ingrained with the people from Brazil. And
well, first of all, she did not say red; she said orange. So you got that wrong.
well, actually, I think your Spanish isn't good enough because rojo and naranja is red.
What? ¿Qué tú dijiste? What did you say? Did you say rojo? Yeah, sí, tú.
No, dije naranja.
Perdón.
The TV setting on my screen, the little
Wait, it was orange.
purple.
It was orange.
Yes, it was orange.
I thought she said morado. I'm just kidding.
On my TV, it was red.
No, but everything else was correct. Everything else Dino said. It's just the color.
He bebido un poco.
Ay,
Did you give your favorite moment already?
¿Cómo fue?
Mine?
Mm.
No escuché. I didn't hear you, sorry.
Never mind. JP?
I was gonna say, Des, did you give your favorite moment already? I don't remember.
Oh, my favorite. I'll make it short and sweet so we can move on. But mine was literally when he just took off. He just said, "Fuck, mom, I'm leaving you. Like, I don't care about you. I'm just gonna follow my dad or this music," because I still don't know if he was following the music or he was following the dad. That's the part that I really want to get sorted out.
I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of a very decisive moment. It's like, yeah, the dad's gone. It was like, but you just left your mom. Okay, I can respect that.
He climbed the leg of his dad, and his mom just went like, "Hey, get here, motherfucker."
Okay. I just want to talk.
I have a question for.
Oh, go ahead.
So I saw a phoenix, like a bird, in many times of the film, and I don't understand what that means. So después del festival, after the carnival or something, he saw a phoenix, and I don't know how that represents, or I don't know. And I saw that many times of the film. No sé si ustedes saben qué significa.
Bueno, la Fénix, ¿verdad? Que regresa a la muerte, ¿verdad? Que, you know, a phoenix, you know, gets ashes and then, you know, comes back from the flames. So I think it's just a regeneration thing with that it kept showing over and over. Entonces, como yo vi, fue que, ¿verdad? El pueblo, los trabajadores, todo eso, trabajan duro y después siempre se le termina cayendo encima y de nuevo tienen que empezar, ¿verdad? Y normalmente siempre sin realmente quejarse. So I see the Phoenix as a regeneration thing, renewal, and the fact that in Brazil, the workers, other countries, people that you consider lower class or whatever money-wise, they're constantly working hard, like no breaks, whatever, and then usually they come and just kick them out, you know, replace their jobs with machines and, you know, literally kick them out of the city. So it was partly gentrification, and then they come back and they rise back up and kind of go at it. So that's what I saw with a phoenix.
Well, I didn't even think of it as a
Okay.
phoenix. Like I thought it was just like a tropical bird of some sort. Like I couldn't tell what species because like the head was really rounded. And like I figured that was just like his spirit animal in general, because like that's what he dresses as at the carnival, is a colorful bird. So like I just thought that was just like the spirit of the people. Like birds tend to be like a symbol of freedom, like typically. And then like a raven is like kind of a version of death. So like those two birds would meet up and fight.
The corporate one was a raven.
That's how I saw it.
I thought
that's how I saw it.
I thought
so I could be totally wrong, but that's what I read into it.
I thought the corporate one was like an iron hawk.
It could have been an eagle or like a hunting bird, a bird of prey, something that would kill something.
For sure.
I mean, I was just looking at the colorful bird as the bird of the people, because the other bird was black, usually came from smoke, but also like they once show a logo of the blackbird, and it's like a militaristic emblem with sharp edges and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it kind of reminded me.
Nazi-ish.
You mean the eagle that might be America?
It could be America, but it also
could
like
be
Mexico. the island.
Oh, it did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
Like when it turns into like the bullet bird, like it matches the emblem.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw it as from being with the Nazis, that because then it showed kind of fascism and it showed just like all that kind of power. So
you're probably closer to it, Dino.
And again, it's probably a combination of it. Like everything kind of evolved slightly. So like the bird and the crow, and then it's what kind of is flying like an eagle. And it's kind of flying like a phoenix, but how do we even know what a phoenix looks like if there aren't any in life, right? So.
Well, it's just like typically phoenixes are portrayed with fire, and I didn't see the streaming behind it as like fiery. But like I said, this is completely my view on it.
Yeah.
And I want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Well, my view was that if you saw an eagle and it represents America, it's clearly a ho-ho, which is a Pokemon, and it represents China. So you gotta.
Oh my god!
I was absolutely thinking about Pokemon when the two birds were fighting, like legendary birds, the Articuno and the Zapdos.
I think my roommate said the same thing during the movie, and
I made that.
punch.
I made that joke.
It was you.
I made it as a joke though, because like that moment when you first see the bird spread, I was like, I didn't know that this was Pokemon.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you were upset with me.
It's super effective. Okay.
Anyways.
So before we're getting close to final thoughts here, but before we do that, because I do want to talk about the ending of the film, but before we even talk about that, I also want to talk about favorite characters in the film, because we kind of talked about it. Spoiler alert: you find out that the people that the boy encounters is actually versions of him in different stages of his life. We see him as an old man, we see him as a young man, and we even see him in his adolescence in the movie without even really being aware or told about it. But we also have secondary characters in the film as well, such as the mother and father and some of the background characters. So did you guys have a particular favorite character in this movie?
I mean, honestly, I think that like the background in itself is its own character. Like the way that they animate everything, like every single machine was based off of an animal. So like I feel like that's like part of what makes this film so effective is like the fact that all of it is like supposed to be a crazy thing.
Salud.
Thank you.
I feel like everybody said that. Bless you, not the
Yeah. But that was like something that I found very engaging about this whole film, is like everything had its own very specific feeling and like attitude. Like everything had an opinion about something.
I mean, favorite character, I guess it would be the one that had the instruments and like turn over the bicycle and created a little, you know, drum set / musical instrument. Yeah, he of the different versions, he's definitely my favorite one because then he has a colorful poncho and all that. So without a doubt, favorite character.
Well, I think my favorite character is the the kid, I think. Con él es que se desarrolla todo y la película como tal es la imaginación de él. So, pienso que pues es mi personaje favorito, el más que se desarrolla en toda la película.
Raymond, you want to translate?
Her favorite character is the main character. He's the one who comes to discover the world, and we see everything through his lens. And I would say, I guess I would say the same. I mean, again, I'm looking for like the most depressing moments. Those are the ones that hit me the hardest. So when we see the main character age the first time to like teenage version or whatever you want to call that, and he's leaving the house, I was just like, damn, like this cycle just never stops. And then, oh, also the first stranger that we meet, the older man, there was just something about the way like his body language was like droopy and his face was droopy, but he was like really tough and like picked up the bales of cotton. There was something that like, even in the way the character moved and the character looked, you could feel the weight of his life in real time. So kind of like that too.
To me, I'm gonna say that I like the boy specific, but this specific moment is the one that's coming to my mind, which is the one that he's just outside with that little lantern thing that the mom put, and he's just there like waiting and waiting and waiting for his dad to come and like play music for him or something. And it reminded me of like one of the very few times that I bonded with my dad. That was like, he would come like super late, but he would call me and be like, hey, you want like a donut or something? I'll be like, all right. And I'll wait till like 1, 2 in the morning until he finally came and I got that donut and then passed the fuck out. But yeah.
For sure. All right, so before we get into final thoughts, I kind of want to talk about the ending of the film because I'm not like, the ending of the movie, it struck a surprising chord with me, and I wanted to see what your guys' reaction towards it. And I know that Jason hasn't seen it, but I'm actually going to bring up Akira because that was his pick when we first started this. It brought me back to that because the film ends with, we see the boy now as an elder man, and he goes to the tree that he and his parents planted, and then all of a sudden you see him seeing and reliving that moment as a boy with the mom and dad before the dad left, and just the boy in absolute embrace with his parents, and we visually go into his mind, which is basically a repeat of the beginning of the movie. This fantastic collage of colors just going in and out of this pattern, which reminded me of how Akira ended, where like we just see for like a good minute just colors going in and out and in and out. And for me, it was almost like, in my view, it was like, oh, like we are experiencing literally the end of his story. Like he's in the like I saw it as death, and some people believe that, you know, that there is no death, there is only a restart. How there's a beginning and end, and it's somehow linked together. So I saw that as it's almost like a continuous loop of this, just a circle of life, so to speak. I don't know how to really articulate it well, but I was so like mesmerized. I'm so like taken aback at that moment that like I low-key hated the film for a little bit. I was like, man, that movie had no right to do that to my emotions. But it was just so beautiful, and that's how I perceived it as, is like we are literally seeing him being born again right at the end of his life. So what did you guys get from the ending of the film?
Go, Ray. You're on mute.
You muted, Raymond. There you go.
Can someone refresh me on what the last like scene is? Is it that scene that you just described? Because the last thing I remember, or I guess the last thing that like hit me the hardest, was when he puts the page of his mom and dad, or the photo of his mom and dad.
Yeah, it's around there. Is where it was.
Yeah, it's like a couple minutes after that he describes, because like he goes through the thing, he goes back to the tree, he sits by the tree, and then it's a flashback to the parents.
Okay, gotcha.
Excuse me.
Bless
I
you.
emotionally, I was still at the photo.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
So the ending, I got it all from what you guys have also been saying, but that's why I had an issue with the film portion, with the live shot, because I thought the ending was there. I thought it was like kind of like Raymond was talking about, like, hey, don't fall asleep, whatever. I thought it was a kind of a, I'm holding a mirror up at the very end before you get out. So then when I kept going, I was like, damn, what is this? Lord of the Rings? Like, finding new endings. So that's my biggest issue with the ending, just the placement of the footage. I think could maybe just come at the very end, just as this is a mirror. I'm gonna preach at you right now for right before the credits. But yeah, it's got great messages. Steve?
No sé.
You calling me out like that? For me, that was the moment I wanted to be like full, like I said, like that movie is the perfect to, like, if you like psychedelics like me, you just pop it before the movie, and then by that time, where like the camera's just zooming in and out, like you're just in that world, you're tripping out, because the same way that there's like actual people and stuff in the world, there's also like the whole like zooming in thing. It just reminded me of like even our bodies are composed by all these cells and all these micro beings like inside of us, and it just keeps going and going and going. And that's basically what reminded me of just like, I should have been tripping, not sober like I did. So
Because I also saw cells too, Steve, because like that's what I thought that like those first and last like initial like things was like because each one looks more like a cell and like a thing in the cell, and how we are all built together, and how we all end with that. So like everything comes full circle.
For sure. ¿Y Joelis?
Pues básicamente lo que me dejó, me dejó claro fue que no importa en qué parte del mundo tú estés, no importa, o sea, todas las historias se repiten como una espiral. Mírenlo aquí. Ay, ¿dónde estás? Aquí. Que todo se vuelva a repetir, no importa de qué país tú seas, qué idiomas tú hables, pues las situaciones, pues no tenemos los mejores padres muchas veces, pero lo que nos queda es pues la perspectiva que nosotros mismos creemos en nuestra vida, y pues esta es la que hay. Eso básicamente fue lo que me dijo lo que me dejó, lo que me quiso decir la película y ese final. No sé si me doy a entender.
She dropped a bomb, bro. JP, you gotta translate this. You're the only one who hasn't translated, man. All right, Dino, you take it. Or Jason, you've been practicing your Spanish.
Yeah. So basically, what she was trying to express, and might I say, she expressed it really well too. Okay, like her points were right on the money. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't confirm that officially. It feels like the polite thing to say.
You're
what
right.
What it does though, it sells the movie to me even more. I'm gonna turn all the lights off in the house and watch that movie as soon as this is over.
Oh, bro, yeah. Like I think that's the perfect setting, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So Dina, what did she say?
Basically, what Jason said. He got it.
There you go.
That is correct, Jason. You're on your own from now on.
Traduce, Steven.
Me, I forgot already, so I can't.
Oh my god, it's all good.
De verdad.
All right, so we pretty much dissected the film as much as I wanted to, but if anybody has any additional thoughts before we go into the final bit, does anyone else want to talk about literally anything else in the film?
I'm just happy if you're happy, JP. So I'm happy you're happy that we talked about everything you wanted us to talk about.
Yeah, Dino speaks for everybody. All right, so now we're going into final thoughts. The film absolutely surprised me. That last bit was such a cerebral and just emotional punch to the gut that I had a very mixed reaction to it, but it did not sour the film at all. If anything, like it's one of those things like you just it's stuck with me almost throughout the whole night. So like any film that does that, like it's absolutely worth something. It's absolutely beautiful. It does talk about some more mature themes, but nothing that that you would hide away to a child or to anybody who to literally anyone. Like I do believe this is a film practically for all ages. Some younger folk may not understand it as well, but it's just so visually pleasing, and the story, although messy at times, is somewhat easy to follow. So I do believe that this is a good film for anybody who not only is into just animation in general, but just like the traditional storytelling of like where the hero's journey. We literally see this kid's life from near beginning to end in a matter of an hour and 20 minutes. And musically beautiful as well. I wish we talked a little bit more on the music, but it's when you see the film, it literally speaks for itself. And so will anyone else want to give their final thoughts?
No, I agree with JP. It's a gorgeous film. I think it's absolutely a must-see, especially if you're someone who's really into animated films. I think that it is like a rare gem. Like it's so different than what we consider like typical of this medium. And I think that everyone should see it.
Is there like a cinema club for kids? Because I'd be very curious to see like what a kid watching this comes away with. Because that was depressing. Like I can see someone walks out and goes like the spirit of humankind always stays alive or something. But I was just like growing into adulthood, there are just some things that I feel like, oh, I have the power to change, and then recognizing, do you really? And this film really is able to evoke that powerlessness in this like hour and 20 minutes. And so that's the takeaway I went into. It just brings me back full circle to Steve saying that he was trying to find a not so dark and depressing Brazilian film. And the only two films that I've seen are City of God and this. And I go, oh, okay.
You see, I was like, Raymond, how old are you? Because I felt nothing. I'm guessing, you know, yeah, I didn't feel much of anything. Again, I definitely would recommend this in a dark room at night, lights off. I think it's would make it more visually, you know, amazing, if you will. Yeah, it was good. I got all the things. I think I could have done it with a really short film, but there were the one thing I did want to bring up that I really enjoyed. I don't know, we might be missing all our artists. The one part where it's like black and then the lines are all kind of coloring reminded me when we were kids. We'd have color pencils and we would do like different types of colors, and then you would paint it with a black paint, and then you would use like a coin. Is there a name for that? I know I'm using my final thoughts now to ask for the type.
We all know what you're talking about, though. I think we all get it, but I'm not sure what the name for it is.
Right.
So that's my final thought. My final thought is me trying to come up with the name of that art technique.
My final thought will be, to evaluate. In every movie, I should evaluate during the first 5 to 10 minutes if I should be sober or not sober. You know, like, there's many movies that like it just heightens the experience. You know, in certain scenarios. So this was one of those movies that personally, I would have just, you know, microdosed a little bit or done something like that. But that's me, you know. And I did it sober. So I know I'm definitely going to watch this a second time just to see if I can really figure out that backwards Brazilian. It's just a personal.
You start picking up, and if I'm not mistaken, the song in the credit scenes, I think, is what was the one song.
Wait, we didn't even speak about the music, but the music was fantastic, in my opinion.
I'm just saying, backwards, you can kind of hear it because anyway. Go, yeah. If you watch it, again,
I don't know if you guys stuck to the credits, but I did, and the music was great.
Mm-hmm.
I like the rap. Yeah.
Look at Raymond. Raymond is like, what's going on?
Well, then I have a question. My question for everyone is, would you recommend this film, and to who?
To you.
I think Jason would actually really like this movie.
I think so too.
I would recommend it to Jason for sure.
So I definitely would give it an absolute recommend. Words.
I appreciate that, you guys. Really, I thought you were going to go in a different direction, and you threw it right back to me. So I'm going to watch it tonight.
I think this would be something that could be on in the kids' room. I don't know. That's why when Raymond was like, it's so depressing, I was thinking that if I was still working at the nursery, I would have this in the TV just playing, because the colors and the music are so great together.
So are you gonna cut the part that it shows like the real footage, or are you just gonna leave it playing?
Just leave it there for them to try to figure out. Hey, if we had to watch Willy Wonka with that tunnel scene and the chicken's neck being cut off, then I think kids will be fine with this live footage of the forest on fire.
I was about to make an Antifa joke, but yeah, you're right. I turned out pretty okay.
Joely.
Pues honestamente no sé qué decir. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
¿Cuáles son tus pensamientos finales? ¿A quién se los recomienda?
Pues definitivamente se lo recomendaría a un niño a ver cómo reaccionaría, como dijo Raymond. ¿Cómo reaccionaría a porque yo me sentí como cuando uno ve una película de muñequito de Disney or something y uno cuando es adulto la ve y uno entiende esos mensajes subliminales que tiene la película, pues así
Sí.
mismo, como que me transporté a ser niño de nuevo, niña de nuevo, pero yo digo, ¿un niño entenderá lo complejo que es? Yo pienso que no. Pero definitivamente pondría a un niño a ver su reacción.
She would definitely recommend it to a kid because she felt like she was watching kind of like a Disney movie, but as an adult, you get more of the subliminal messages. And she doesn't think that kids will definitely pick that, but it will be interesting to just know like what would they take out of it.
For sure. And that about, I think, wraps it up for this one, Boy and the World. It seems that good recommendation so far from everybody. And now I'm going to pass it off to Des. Des, who's up next?
Who's up next? Oh my God. I don't even think this person is ready. Because I haven't told them anything. Technically, it was going to be someone that did not come today, but that person did not come today, so she shall not be named. And we're going to pass it along to Michaela.
Hey.
Do you actually have a pick?
Put her on the spot.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a French horror film, part of the Criterion Collection.
Oh my God. Quick Google.
I know.
I already hate your pick.
Have you seen them, Michaela?
No, I haven't.
Hold on.
So, French horror film.
It's a French horror film. It's an old one, though.
Criterion.
It has something to do with, like, the eyes see.
Make sure to delete my history after that.
Never.
Spoiler alert, I don't like horror.
The only way I get you to watch them.
She said the film already?
No. She's looking for
I'm so sorry.
Is it the woman without eyes?
Put her on the spot.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is my fault. It's my fault. I mean, we can pass.
Sorry, Steve.
You can get the week after if you want to pass.
Eyes Without a Face.
I've been wanting to watch this one.
What is it?
Eyes Without a Face.
Eyes Without a Face.
Something tells me that's what
That's the dancing group, right? Hip hop dancing group.
So both Jason and Raymond actually wanted to see that movie.
So,
What year is this, Michaela?
1960. So I was totally off.
Okay, yeah, I saw this in a documentary, and somebody was saying it was one of the most bizarre, awesome horror movies. So I'm all for it.
Woo!
I can't wait to hate on it.
Thank you, Raymond.
I'll be with you, JP. Probably. We'll see.
It's the only way I get to watch these things.
Hey, listen, the house was incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you. I won Cinema Club with that.
House might be in my top 10 of all time now. I'm just saying. Like, the more I think about it, the more I love it.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked that episode, go check it out.
Please do.
Anywho, what was the name of the movie again for next week?
Eyes Without a Face.
Eyes Without a Face. Anywho, for El Dondino, Jason Echoes, Raymond Arturo Perez, Michaela, JP, Joe Ellis, aka Rizzy, and me, Steve Des TV. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm JP Cerno, and welcome. Hi, I'm JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo. Hi, I'm JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo. Fucking shit. Okay. Hey, I'm JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo. Right? Jesus Christ. And as soon as it's the third one, because this is the third one, right? I am JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo. Oye Dimelo. Supercut of every time I fuck it up. Hey, I'm JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo. Hey, I'm JP Cerno, and thank you for watching Oye Dimelo Network. And click here for additional videos, and don't forget to subscribe. The lonely singles in your neighborhood already did.